Episode 70 Boomer Guitar Sessions. Today we're going to talk about the necessity and the art of jam and the jam in the rock band, garage band setting. All right, so you're getting together with your friends. You have a couple levels of skills you need to know. Okay, so the ground level of skills you need to know is you got to be able to play chords in time. You got to be able to play parts in time. You got to be able to play the riffs, the stuff, make it sound like it should sound like. So if it's a make it sound like Led Zeppelin. Get the nuances together. First step is imitation. You want to be imitating. And what this requires of you is just to try to copy what you're hearing your favorite artist doing or whatever that is. Now, the secret to this is don't just stick to one artist. And the other secret of this is you gotta practice with the recordings. If you don't practice with the recordings, you have nothing to judge it by. There is no barometer of how successful you are at doing it. Okay, so I always said that the first thing we want to do, we want to learn how to play our instrument. We learn to play our instrument best by playing with others. Now, the first people I played with were Rush, Led Zeppelin. Lots of early 80s rock and metal, whatever. Those were my first people I played with. This is before I ever had garage bands and all that kind of stuff. Judas Priest was like in the early 80s. I'm trying to think. UFO, Rush. I remember Mark Burnett and Phil Zarfoss. That was 40 years ago-ish. And that riff is in. We played that thing so much that is 40 years ago. And I'm still able to recall it like it were yesterday. Okay, so that is the first level. Copy exactly what you hear. Get the parts down. Get the nuances down. Learn your parts. Let it not be guesswork, right? Some people stop there, or what they do is they will pick songs that are absolutely like entry level, and that's all they're gonna focus on. What you want to do if you want to progress in this rock band hierarchy is you have to learn how to improvise. And you should want to learn how to improvise because all the great guitar players of the past got their sound. Even Rush. I say UFO. Younger generations don't know about UFO. Michael Schenker was a beast. If you like Metallica and their lead guitar style, Michael Schenker did it in the 70s. Okay, that's who they studied. That's who they steal from. Everybody steals. I do too. All right, so with that said, you want to be able to learn to improvise. Okay, improvise means that you're not only learning exactly note for note stuff, but you're learning how to elaborate on top of the note for note stuff without a week of preparation. Okay, it doesn't take when we do this. There's lots of benefits from this that are just beyond just improvisational benefits. Your musical confidence, how we can sit in with anybody we want at a moment's notice, and we can put something together that's going to be right for the song. Okay, problem-solving skills, all kinds of things, musical versatility. Here's the deal: it will not take you a week to learn a vocal melody or to learn your bass line if you know the basic forms that you learn while you're learning to improvise, because you got vocabulary to learn with this. Okay, so I think everybody, if anybody wants to get better at their instrument and get it better in kind of the rock band setting, you want to really sparkle. The improvisation is going to be the thing that does it. Now I'm going to state one more point from my childhood. We always had the band directors that were the really good band directors, where you had probably 9/10 of the band were guys that were good at the reader stuff. And all they did was read all day long. And that's great. That's a good skill to have when you're in jazz band. Okay. But then what they would have is they would have this absolutely all-star drummer, rhythm section, bass player. In my past, I remember the Dallastown area school district had Scott Schuster, who I'm still in touch with. Doug Leader was on bass, who is still a professional musician. And Richie Schuster and Phil Zarfoss, I know he was in that. All these people, they sparkled on their instrument because they went beyond just learning what is on the records. They learned how to jam. They learned how to improvise within the context of their favorite music, certainly. But then they weren't just playing what was on the chart. Okay, the band director was smart enough to say, "Hey, you put that stuff in here because it's going to make us all look better." And me as a band director, I'm going to look like a genius because it's going to look like I showed them how to do that, when they know they didn't do that. And they didn't, they never claimed to. These were always really great guys, honest and all that kind of stuff. So with that said, we want to go beyond something that can be transcribed. We want to play stuff that is beyond stuff that is written in tablature. Okay, we want to find our own voice on our instrument, and that's what improvisation will do. Now, the other thing that improvisation does, and this is real important, you're playing with people in real life situations, is it gives you the ability to self-edit, because we don't have music and we're in front of us that says, okay, I want you to be at this section, I want you to be softer, and at this section I want you to go nuts, and at this section I want to. We make all those decisions on the spot, okay? And we're able to move around in the music without any preparation. The better we get at this, the easier it is. The easier it is to self-edit yourself on the fly, which every great musician I've ever played with and I ever admired, rock, jazz, rhythm and blues, whatever it is, improvisational art form, they're able to do that. And it gamifies your music. You're on a higher level. You're not the same guy who's just trying to play Nirvana and Green Day songs. All right. So with that said, I have 3 things that we're going to talk about pretty quickly, as quickly as I can. Actually, the first one is easy. You want to get good at this. The first step is identify the people who are good at it. Okay? So listen to players that can do what you want to be able to do. You want to be able to improvise. And for the sake of, as I said, my rock band students, here's the deal. We want to learn to improvise. First, set a goal for yourself. Say, we're going to learn to improvise in the key of E. Thousands of rock and roll songs are in the key of E. So that's a really good goal to have, because if we can get our E chops together and we can do that, then all the better. All right. So the key of E, it's not all things in the world. It's not every key ever. We're not playing any kind of crazy jazz tune. Let's just learn how to play in a rock setting in the key of E, and to improvise and to play solos and to elaborate. And just listen to the masters who have done it throughout the years. We have the Jimi Hendrix, we have the Jimmy Page, we have Warren Haynes, we have all kinds of it. I'm trying to think of some of the ones that, like the Eric Claptons, the Tony Iommis. Listen to Black Sabbath 1. Listen to Black Sabbath 1. Maybe even the first 2 albums. It defined this kind of thing that we're talking about. just vamping in E. So it could be a one key vamp, like a one chord vamp, just be able to play in the key of E. Roy Gallagher is another one. Robin Trower. These are all names to older musicians. Younger musicians don't know it, so do your homework. Okay? Okay. You learn these things from these artists. If you learn to take some stuff and you mine from them, that is where we're going to talk about scale stuff in a bit, but unless you know what it's supposed to sound like, the scale stuff isn't going to matter. And you copy the phrases. You don't have to copy the whole solo. You copy some licks, and then you experiment with the licks. And then you get a backing track, and you experiment with the licks, and you put it into something that feels good for you. Then copy some more licks, and create more vocabulary. All right? So, but listen to the masters also. Steve Marriott and Humble Pie. Also, Peter Frampton and Humble Pie, because there were two different guitar styles. Steve Marriott was the blues, rhythm and blues guy, and Peter Frampton was the guy who was always trying to put the modal jazz stuff over top of Steve Marriott. And eventually, I'm hearing he got released from Humble Pie because his style was so much different. He had so much a different vision for what he wanted to do than what Humble Pie was doing. Humble Pie is a great band to listen to, by the way. Somebody many of you have never heard of, and I know I haven't heard of them until later in life. But check out their Live from the Fillmore box or CD or whatever. What do they call it now? It's streaming. It's on Spotify. All right. So with that said, listen to the masters. Find anybody, and the world is fun now because you can check out who's great at doing this, who's great at the Jimi Hendrix style, who's great at improvising in rock, and you can even AI this stuff. Okay, but like as I said, Rory Gallagher's a cool resource. Gary Moore's a cool resource. Jimmy Page, Jimi Hendrix, all the Kings, Albert King, B.B. King, Freddie King, all the Kings are good. John Lee Hooker's a wonderful influence. He does a lot of that stuff. That's John Lee Hooker. Wrong key. All right. So anyway, that lays the groundwork. Now, today what we're going to talk about is a concept that I use with my students and myself. And anything I teach with my students, I'm probably applying myself in my own, because I'm always trying to get better at what I do. It is called taking inventory. And we've talked about this before on the channel. When I say taking inventory, what I'm talking about, let's figure out as many different places that we can be conversational in E minor using the minor pentatonic scale and the blues scale. When I say minor pentatonic, so this is going to be your open minor pentatonic scale. Okay, so it's going to be... All right, so that's your E minor pentatonic scale. So get that thing together, get it down, get it so you don't have to practice. So get it. Your open E minor pentatonic. It's stuff that lots and lots and lots of people use. Okay, it's basic vocabulary that all rock guitar players need to get together. Now, when I add this note, no, I'm sorry, that's a blues scale. So when Jimi Hendrix is playing Manic Depression, that's what Those are the notes of the blues scale. That's not the blues scale, but anyway. All right. That's your open minor pentatonic scale. Now, this we can slide up into the next. This is what is called the house pattern. Because it looks like a house. Okay, so that, take an inventory. All that stuff is John Lee Hooker. Rolling Stones. All right. So if we work our way up the neck, on the 5th fret we have this is. All right, next thing up is this. So that. And then you learn to be conversational with it. It's like you learn some of the techniques and you sit with it and you work with it and you listen and you steal and it's an ongoing thing. And you'll find yourself, once you put yourself into this, you'll get better on a daily basis. You'll get more confident on a daily basis. All right. Your timing will improve. Your listening in your ear will improve. All these things will improve. So another we can do those 5 notes. All right, then we work our way up the neck. This is the Tony Iommi. Essential stuff. Listen to Black Sabbath 1 and Paranoid. Richie Blackmore, Deep Purple. All right. Learn some of their movements. You can learn some of their exact solos, but the idea is, if we're going to jam, we're going to use those ideas that we learn, and we're going to learn how to repurpose the ideas. It's not just good just to be an absolute cover of the artist. That's not what any of these artists did. They learned from their favorite artists, and then they repurposed all of it. So that is the 12th fret. If I put that in there. Listen to Red House by Jimi Hendrix. Also listen to Gary Moore's version of it. Listen to pick some songs like Hey Joe. Listen to all the different versions of Hey Joe that you can find. That's what's cool about the internet. Is that you're building vocabulary. Practice with intention. All right, so that was the house pattern up an octave. All right, so map out these little pods of notes, and you just practice it and have a good time with it. It's like, have fun with it. And the other great advice that I tell everybody who will listen, break out a jam track. This is simple concept I learned from Randy Seppi. Back in the day, I had teachers teaching me all the stuff. What Randy said is put a jam track down. This is way before anything happened on YouTube. So we had to create our own jam tracks. So, but what the jam track will do is it'll give you something to practice, and you get to hear how you're progressing. Important part of getting started with this is not to play fast. It's not to play, you don't have to play fast. What you want to get down is the idea of playing in key. Make sure you know what playing in key means, and make sure you're playing notes that are in key. So with that said, like something like this. So this is a BAM, which I'll have linked in the comments. Here's another thing you can do. Once you get familiar with this, add the Dorian note in there. So the Dorian note would be that major 6 interval. All right, and just adding that note to your minor pentatonic scale will make you sound hip. All right. So I hope this has inspired you to take the next level. Let's check out. Let's aspire to be like a lot of our heroes. Take it to the next level. We want to learn to improvise. We want to learn to play leads. We want to mapping out our scales, and this practice is infinitely fun. Once you got to get past to just learning the fingerings. There's learning curve to it, but even that, it doesn't take forever. It doesn't take forever. Just learn a couple of fingerings and then try to and play along with a backing track, and then listen to people that do it, and then learn some of their licks, and then try to use their licks in your own playing, and then it's an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing thing that I hope never stops for you. This is Rod, Boomer Guitar Sessions. I appreciate you. Stay at it. Form your bands. Do the good work. See ya. Hi, this is Rod from Boomer Guitar Sessions. I personally wanted to thank you for being part of our community. If you like what we're doing here and you want to see more of it, please hit the like, subscribe, and share. And this helps me spread my musical messages to all over the world. Thank you. I appreciate you. And always remember, you can do this.